Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Narayana Montufar. I am an astrologer, artist, and author who finds inspiration in the symbolic language of astrology. If you would like to get more videos from me, please subscribe to my channel, or you can also follow me on Instagram or sign up for my newsletter. I would also like to let you know that this year I created a 2024 retrograde guide covering every single retrograde in 2024. It has a ton of information, including dates, which signs are going to be more affected by each retrograde, and it is completely free. So if you would like that, you can find the link on this video, or you can go to my website, naramon.com. And there you can download it for free. Anyway, so today I am here to bring you something that I think is really important to pay attention to as we get deeper and deeper into the astrology of 2024. What I am talking about is the transit of Mars in Capricorn. And Mars is always doing things. It's always in some zodiac sign. And I don't always talk about it necessarily, but I think that it's really important now because as we transitioned between 2023 and 2024, actually the last 3 weeks of 2023 were pretty intense due to the retrograde of Mercury. Mercury was retrograde in Capricorn, also in Sagittarius, and because it traversed 2 signs, the effects were pretty meaningful for a lot of us. And also, even though Mercury is direct now, it's stationed direct on the 1st, it is still forming a square with Neptune, which perfects on Monday, actually on January 8th. And doesn't really clear until the 9th or 10th. And so Mars is already in Capricorn, but Mars is going to stay in Capricorn for 6 weeks. And once the fog from Mercury retrograde totally clears, I feel like we can really make use of this transit for productivity, for feeling more ambitious about our lives. Really, this is a wonderful opportunity to make use of the energy of Mars because it's fearless. So I am going to talk real quick about what Mars rules in astrology, and then I'm going to talk about Capricorn and why this combination is great. Mars is the planet of drive, ambition, sexual energy, and you can see it as the masculine energy that is in all of us. Mars, for the most part, is an intense planet. It messes things up. It likes to create drama sometimes, and it just likes to start things, bring on the fire. That's kind of a Mars mantra. And Mars was part of the retrograde because Mars had a conjunction with Mercury and a square with Neptune. So tell me if you felt that, because I did at the end of 2023. That was intense. But now that Mars is in Capricorn and this transit lasts for about 6 weeks, Mars adopts a very cool demeanor. It is way more focused. It is less impulsive. It is focused on the task at hand. It's like you give Mars in Capricorn a job and it's going to get it done. It has the stamina. It has the resources. It has the drive to make things happen for us. And this energy is going to be active for all zodiac signs, especially Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. But it is available to everybody. And just to give you an example of how this energy plays out, in the world. I am not a fan of military. I think we shouldn't have it, and I think it's intense and whatever. That's my opinion. But for example, the people that I have read for that have Mars in Capricorn, they've been in the military or they hold positions of great responsibility, and they are very cool and collected and focused. And I'm just saying this just to explain to you how Mars in Capricorn behaves. It's fearless. And so the more we embrace fearlessness during this transit, the more we will be able to get done. Capricorn is a sign of legacy. Capricorn is career oriented, yes. But it's not just about career. It's about legacy. It is about asking ourselves the toughest questions, like, what am I doing with my life? Is my career aligned with my path? We're all going to have these questions, especially as we get closer to the new moon in Capricorn on the 11th. And so this is a combination that it's like you can trust that it's going to be very productive and it's going to take you far. But there's a catch. You have to have a clear strategy. You have to know what you're doing. You have to be armed with a plan. That is how Mars in Capricorn behaves. It has a list. It has an Excel sheet. It has proven methods. It's done its research. And so if you did that work, if you did the work of doing your research and getting everything ready during Mercury retrograde, now the doors are going to open for you. The doors are going to be there for you to just cross them. You're going to get a lot of yeses. People see you as a leader. They trust what you're doing with Mars in Capricorn. But you have to be sure of what you want, first of all, and how you're going to get there. So I created this checklist for you to make sure that you have a plan. And even if you don't have a plan, well, Mars in Capricorn can help you get there. It can help you work on this plan. It gives you direction. It gives your fire energy a direction. Here, go here. This is what Mars in Capricorn says. And so having a clear plan and strategy is necessary. And I am going to talk about basically all the aspects that Mars in Capricorn is going to form with other planets. And I am happy to announce that most of these are really positive. There's only one, well, I guess two really intense aspects. But for the most part, I feel like we can really harness this in our careers, but also just life in general, not just in our careers. Mars is in Capricorn between January 4th and February 12th. And the very first aspect that it forms with another planet happens on January 9th, which is the sextile to Saturn. I love this. I love this aspect because Saturn rules Capricorn. And so Saturn is going to extend its hand to Mars. Like, let me help you with what you're doing. Let me open the door for you. Let me put in a good word for you. Saturn rules authority figures. It rules someone that has the upper hand. And so this sextile can be amazing for pitching a project to higher ups, for example, applying for a job, or getting recommendations from teachers and people who are above you. So this is a really good combination. And remember, Mars only visits Capricorn once every 2 years. So having Mars taking us from that Mercury retrograde, which in my opinion was really intense, to this, it can turn things around for us. It can really like be that push that we need right now as we think about our strategy for 2024. So this is my favorite aspect, actually, even though the next one is really positive as well. I really like this sextile. The next one is a trine with Jupiter. So I feel like these days, right, these days between January 9th and January 12th bring with possibility. Jupiter, the planet of expansion and growth, magnifies everything that it touches. And in this case, is going to magnify the ambition, the can-do energy, that focused direction that Mars already has. This is one of those aspects that can go wrong almost. This is like, let's do this. It's time. You can even take a risk now because you have a well-laid strategy. So you can take a risk. You can go for the gold during this time. It is a successful aspect. The people who have this aspect in their charts, they're like winners. They are like, they have that je ne sais quoi, that like fire within that just pushes them forward. And if they make a mistake, they get themselves back up and try it again. So this is a really, really positive combination because Jupiter just came out of retrograde on December 30th. So Jupiter was retrograde since the beginning of September. And so the fact that Mars is forming this trine now with a direct Jupiter, it just feels very fortunate. The next aspect that I want to talk about is the intense one. One of the two intense ones that Mars forms during its trip in Capricorn, and it is the square with Chiron that happens on January 25th. And this is something to watch. I love Chiron, but Chiron in a square with Mars can be hurtful. Chiron is in Aries, which is ruled by Mars. And so we are already in a collective process of healing our leadership, healing the masculine, and healing our shadow. That's what Chiron is, as it is known as the wounded healer. And the square between Mars and Chiron happens exactly at the full moon in Leo. So it can be dramatic. And what could happen around this time? Well, you could receive a comment, an email, or feedback about a project. And maybe that comment isn't very nice. Maybe somebody just didn't think about it or was stressed out with other things and just wasn't very nice in the delivery. That could hurt. That Mars Chiron connections hurt. They're intense. If this happens for you, not to scare you, but to prepare you, I invite you to not respond in an impulsive manner. I invite you to look below the surface and ask yourself, why? Why is this triggering me so much? Is it the delivery? Is it the content of the feedback? Is it that I don't like to hear feedback? What is it? Chiron is the wound at the end of the day. So there's something that someone says or does could awaken an insecurity or like touch a sore spot. I'm not saying you have to take the terrible feedback. But I invite you to think about it, because Chiron is psychological. Mars isn't. Mars is just intensity. But Chiron is psychological. And so if we don't deal with this with integrity, it can also take us on a trip, on a mental trip of full of anger. And so just watch what happens around this time. What is happening now is that besides of this, of Mars squaring Chiron at the full moon in Leo, the north node of the moon is also involved, as the north node of the moon is already approaching a conjunction with Chiron. So the north node of the moon is also going to get squared by Mars. There's like fated quality to this aspect as well. Something that could come from a past life or a past situation repeating. And so, again, we must act with compassion right now, because it could also be us, the ones that say that nasty comment, or in a moment of stress, we can just lose our cool. Mars in Capricorn is a cool and collected energy, but this clash could really send us on a different trajectory. The next aspect I want to talk about is the trine between Mars and Uranus that happens on January 29th. The one that closes the month, basically. And so if damage was done during the full moon, 4 days later, this aspect can really help us bring healing. And the reason why is because Mars will trine Uranus, and at the same time, on that same day, the moon is going to trine both. And so it's going to form a grand Earth trine. And Earth energy is grounding. It's like, ooh, okay, after all that fire, we are calming down. Another reason why I love this aspect is because it's exciting and it's exhilarating. It is about taking risks. It is about downloading genius information for our projects. And it is also kind of liberating. It just feels like, like a release. Like a release. And following the steps of Jupiter, Uranus is also coming out of retrograde around this time. So Uranus is awakened. There's this notion of like, okay, I'm okay with change. I understand why I needed to revise my strategy. I understand why I needed to do things differently. And so let Uranus show you the way now. Uranus is the planet that's going to be super duper activated in 2024. As Pluto enters Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus. And so Uranus is kind of like a big player in the astrology of 2024. And so Uranus has the answers for you. But in order to download information from Uranus, we have to be willing to receive it, and we have to listen to our bodies, because Uranus is in Taurus. So our senses are getting awakened. Our intuition is going to be a little bit more on point. There's this like awakening of our minds. And the next aspect I want to talk about is the sextile that Mars is going to form with Neptune on February 7th. You might not even feel this one the most, because Neptune is like tricky. It's like it might bring just a sense of easiness, of like, okay, I feel better now. I feel like I'm magnetic. I'm attracting my desires. This is a follow your dreams type of energy. It's like, let's do this. What's your dream? Let's act on it. Act on your dreams. It is an incredible combination for for example. Creativity. It is a great combination for spiritual quests. Why? Because Neptune rules the non-tangible part of our lives. It rules everything that you can't see, but that you can feel. And this combination is also magnetic, since Mars rules sex and Neptune is glamorous. It's also like really nice to go for someone we've been wanting to lure into our orbit. This is a really sweet aspect. I think it's the last nice one, because after that, between February 7th and February 12th, Mars leaves Capricorn on February 12th. Mars is going to get closer and closer and closer and closer to Pluto. Pluto, by this time, Pluto is going to be in Aquarius at the 0 degrees. And the conjunction doesn't actually happen in Capricorn, but I feel like this is something you need to know, because these days will be intense. These days will be intense, and we just have to watch out. Just being mindful of power plays at work. This is the classic power play combination, because Mars wants what it wants, and Pluto can be a little bit of like a manipulative or like just very intense energy. So just during this time, just keep a low profile. Especially at work with authority figures. It's like keep a low profile and just keep your cool. So this is different from the Chiron aspect. This is a little bit more, it's a heavier kind of like, oh, like I don't know what's going on with me, but I feel angry, I feel intense. And because Pluto had just moved into Aquarius on January 20th, we don't even really know how this is going to play out. We're trying to figure out. Astrologers are like, keeping an eye on this conjunction that's going to happen, but it is not happening in Capricorn, but we will feel it before it even happens. And that's it, actually. I just wanted to thank you for watching, for being here. I am new to YouTube, so I am still figuring out a lot of the video stuff and like, but still I'm really happy to be here connecting with you. And just as a friendly reminder, again, my 2024 retrograde guide is free and you can download it immediately from my website, naramon.com. I also offer astrology readings, Akashic Records readings, as well as tarot readings. I also write a lot of horoscopes. I write a lot about new moons and full moons, and I will be here talking about that. And also, I wrote a book about the moon, which is called Moon Signs, Unlock Your Inner Luminary Power. And so I just want to thank you for watching, and I will talk to you soon. And if you like my content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel or like this or leave me a comment. So thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.